Hello baseball fans, Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and it has been a while since we've had our Statis Pro Advanced 1976 Game of the Week replay on the channel. Currently up to week 14, which is the beginning of July in that replay. So I thought we'd pull that out, a little winter baseball, and today's Game of the Week features the A's visiting Kansas City to take on the Royals. And this game was actually played on July 4th, 1976. A 6-0 A's win behind a three-hitter by Mike Norris. And Mike Norris, early in his career, did not have a great 1976. He was 4-5 with a 4.78 ERA, but he was lights out on this particular day. And that's one of the things that Statis Pro Advanced actually does, well, even the original does quite well, because you roll prior to each game to see if a pitcher has better or worse stuff than normal. So it makes these kind of outings, even in the midst of a mediocre season, possible. Now, obviously, Norris, with his ratings, would need to roll that in this game, and he did not. He just rolled his normal stuff. We're 4 innings in, by the way. I wanted to do a few innings to get my sea legs back since I haven't played the game for a while. But at this point, going into the top of the 5th, the A's hold a 5-2 lead, so they are still in control. Norris started off rough, gave up a couple of runs to Kansas City in the first inning. Run-scoring ground out by Hal McRae, and then a run-scoring single by Al Cowens that brought in George Brett for the 2 runs for Kansas City. The A's stormed back against Al Fitzmaurice in the top of the 2nd, scoring 4 runs, and they were put together by 5 consecutive runners or batters reaching base, 4 singles and a hit batsman, which produced 3 runs, and then Bill North drove in the 4th run with a ground out to shortstop. In the 3rd, the A's added another run, a single by Joe Rudy, followed by a run-scoring double by Gene Tennis. Both teams had a scoreless 4th, so that's where we sit at 5-2. Now, the pitchers, both of them are down to 2 in terms of fatigue, so neither one of them is going to get out of the 5th inning, because just going into the 5th, once you get into the 5th inning, it's reduced. Actually, I think it's a 6, sorry. No, it is a 5th. So you reduce by a 1 fatigue point just for every inning pitched after the 4th for a starter. So Fitzmaurice is going to be at 1, meaning the first single or base runner he gives up, or going into the next inning, he'll be fatigued. So he'll be replaced. And we have, for Kansas City, either Larry Gura or Marty Patton ready to go and relieve Fitzmaurice. Norris in the same boat. He'll not get out of the 5th inning either without being fatigued. So we have currently warming up for the A's, Jim Todd and Paul Lindblad. And lineups, I'll just go over them real quick. For the A's, Billy North in center, Bert Campaneris at short, Don Baylor in right, Joe Rudy in left, Sal Bando at 3rd, Gene Tennis at 1st, Sweet Swingin' Billy Williams designated hitter, Scrap Iron Phil Garner at 2nd, and Larry Haney behind the dish. For the Royals, Jim Wolford in left, Amos Otis in center, George Brett at 3rd, John Mayberry RFD at 1st, Hal McRae as the DH, Al Cowens in right, Bob Stinson behind the dish, Freddie Patek at short, and Frank White at 2nd base. Now, the way I play Statis Pro Advanced is primarily dice-driven. The 2D6 for the pitcher's control, and then obviously the 2D8 for the results on the cards. And then I also throw in a 1D20. A roll of 1 is a clutch batting check, a roll of 2, clutch defense check, and then on a 19 or 20, I do an error check based on the rating of the fielder who fielded the ball. The only thing I use fast action cards is I flip 1 over for each new batter, and just to use that for the out placement. Otherwise, I do not use the fast action cards at all. And if the out results, of course, were on the card, I wouldn't use them, period. But this speeds up the game a little bit and still produces results not exactly in line with just going straight facts, but it's pretty close, and more important, for me, it's fun. So we'll start the 5th inning. And for the A's, Bert Campaneris set to lead it off against Al Fitzmaurice. Here we go. So we have a total of 10 coming off of Campy's card against the right-hander, and 27 is going to be a double down the left field line. Campaneris heading into second base, and that's going to hit fatigue point for Fitzmaurice. Now he would be reduced to a 2-7 versus right-handers and a 4-7 or versus left-handers, 4-7 versus right-handers if I keep him in. I think that's going to be it for him. So we'll go ahead and bring in, actually I think we're going to bring in Larry Gora. Gora has a little bit more stamina for the short haul. So he'll have 6. And just close the book on Fitzmaurice. So he ends up going only 4 innings. Gives up 7 hits. And at this point, 5 runs all earned. He did manage to strike out 2 batters, did not walk anybody, and no home runs allowed. And actually, I think I'm going to go with Marty Patton first instead of Gora. All right, so Patton will be the new pitcher, and Patton is 2-6 versus lefties and 4-7 versus righties, which actually is a little bit worse than Fitzmaurice would have been. But so runner on second base, and Don Baylor, he of getting hit by pitch fame, steps up to the dish. And Baylor, the right-hander, and 85 is going to be an out result. And I did not flip the card before Baylor's at bat. So RN, that's going to be a ground ball down to first base. And that's going to get the runner over to third. So 3 unassisted and 1 down. And that brings up Joe Rudy. Rudy today is 2 for 2, 2 singles, 2 runs scored. Patton winds up, kicks, delivers. And 7, that's going to be off Patton's card. And 24, swing and a miss. Patton strikes him out. So Rudy goes down, out number 2. And that would have been error check if it had been in play with the 19 on the 1-20. So Sal Bando, and again we go to Patton's card 78, and I did not change that. It's going to be an out. RP is going to be a fly out to center field, and inning is over. So the A's get a hit, but Patton comes on and extinguishes any further damage. So we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Your score, A's 5, Royals 2. And Norris, he's down to a 1 entering the 5th. So he's going to try and get through this inning to get the decision at least. And 4 is going to be off Norris's card. And 21 against Wolford, the right-hander. Swing and a miss. So Norris, and that is his first strikeout of the game. And that's a big one as he tries to survive the 5th inning. Brings up Amos Otis. And 9 coming off of Otis's card, and 57 is going to be a walk. So Otis trots down to first, and Norris is now fatigued. So that's going to put him at 2-4 versus righties and a 2-5 versus lefties. We're going to give him 1 more batter. So George Brett up, runner on first base, 1 down. And 12, that's going to be off Brett's card, and probably a mistake as Brett drives a single into right field. And again, I forgot to flip the card. So Brett drives a single into right field, and runner advancement. Amos Otis is a B. So going first to third, and 83 is going to be a challenge. So being in right field for the A's, we have a 3-arm with Don Baylor, and 48, and Justin there ahead of the throw. So a close play at third base, but Amos Otis in at first, and Mike Norris, unfortunately, is not going to be able to stick around to get the decision in this one. So he is coming out after 4 1/3 innings. So both starters an early shower in this one, and he gives up 4 or 5 hits. At this point, 2 runs, both earned, but both runners his responsibility. And he has also walked 2 and struck out 1. Actually make that 3-4 walks. So wildness kind of plagued Norris in this one. And we're going to bring in Jim Todd from the A's bullpen. Todd in 1976, and he has a fatigue rating of 6. Went 7-8, 3.81 ERA, 4 saves. So he's going to try and get John Mayberry and extricate the A's and himself from this dilemma. And it's going to be an error check, 6, and it's going to be off Todd's card. 64 will be an out. And LN is going to be a fly out to deep center field, and that is going to get a run in center field for the A's. Bill North is a 2 and makes a play, but it's going to be a sacrifice fly. So coming in to score is Amos Otis, and that makes score 5-3. George Brett back to first. And that run, of course, is charged to Norris, and Todd does not get fatigue reduction for that. And one clutch padding result, Hal McRae, 31 against the right-hander, and 31 is going to be a double. So he can close this to a single run. And George Brett's running rating is a A. So double the outfield A, 55, and 55 is going to go off the outfielder's arm. And out in center field, that is going to be Bill North, and North has a 2. So 51-74 score, so it is now a 1-run game. So George Brett coming all the way around from first base to score on the double. And that closes the book on Mike Norris. Gives up 4 runs, all of them earned. And he is on the hook officially for a no decision. Now runner on second base, 1 out. And Jim Todd facing Al Cowens, and it's going to be a potential error check. 4 is going to be off Todd's card, and that is going to be an infield single, and actually off the pitcher's card there. That will not be an error check. So going over to third base, and more activity in the A's bullpen, as Paul Lindblad has now started to throw as Bob Stinson comes to the plate. Runners on first and third, still only 1 out. Royals looking to get back and take the lead in this one. 7, and that's going off Stinson's card, 21. That's going to be a single into center field. And Cowens, 61, and he's going to be held at second base, but a run comes in, and we are tied as McRae scores. So the Royals have come back and tied this up in the bottom of the 5th. And that's going to bring up Freddie Patek, and 3 is going to be off Todd's card, and 52. That's going to be an out, and Patek. It's going to be a ground ball to shortstop, and that will be a double play, 6-3 or 6-4-3. So that gets the A's out of the inning, but not before the Royals strike for 3 runs, and they do so on a total of 5 hits and a walk. So we are through 5 innings, and we're all tied up at 5 in this one. And Todd, he is going to stay on the hill. I didn't do his reduction, so 1, 2. So Todd is actually down to 1, and he's going to be replaced for the next inning. We'll go ahead and bring in Paul Lindblad. And Lindblad, he is 2-6 against lefties, 4-7 against righties, and he has a fatigue of 5. So Todd, not a very good accounting of himself. as he gives up, is going to officially be charged with 3 hits and a run. No walks, no strikeouts. And 2-6-4-7. All right, we are ready for the top of the 6th. Gene Tennis set to lead it off against Marty Patton, and Marty for relievers. Every inning after the first, their relief rating goes, or their fatigue is subtracted by 1. So 10 going to be off Tennis's card, and 46 against the right-hander. And Tennis swing and miss, big cut at that one. Nowhere close to getting it though. 1 out on the strikeout. Patton gets signed. Billy Williams in the batter's box, and 11 off a sweet swinging Billy Williams card, and 31 swing and a miss for Billy Williams. So no sweetness to that swing as Patton 2 strikeouts in a row to start the 6th. Going to bring up Phil Scrap Iron Garner, and coming off of Garner's card, 52 is going to be an out. And that is going to be a fly out to deep left field, going back to the track, and hauling that in at the track is Jim Wolford. So 3 up, 3 down go the A's. And we are into the bottom of the 6th inning, all tied up at 5 in this one. And Patton is going to stay, and he'll be a 3 beginning the next inning. So Wolford, top of the order. Paul Lindblad gets a sign, and 62 is going to be off of Wolford's card, and that will be a ground ball down to third base. 5-3 on the put out there. I'm sorry, that should actually have been Frank White. So still going to be the same. So White with the ground out to Sal Bando, now top of the order for Wolford. Patton gets a sign, and 6 coming off of Patton's card, 62. That's going to be an out, and that will be a ground ball down to first base. So 3-1 on the put out there, and 2 quick outs for Lindblad in the bottom of the 6th inning. Brings up Amos Otis. And Otis again coming off of Lindblad's card, 74 is going to be an out. And it'll be a ground ball down to second base, so 4-3. Nice play down there by Garner. 3 up, 3 down go the Royals, and we are through 6, tied up at 5 in this one. And leading things off for the A's is Larry Haney, Marty Patton. In his 3rd inning of work now. This will be his last, more than likely. 73, that's going to be an out. And Haney, ground ball down to third base. So Patton continues to mow through the A's lineup as George Brett takes care of that one. Back to the top of the order, 1 out. Bill North, the batter, the speedy Bill North. Waits for the pitch, here it comes, and 7 against the switch hitting North, so that'll be left-handed. Going to be off North's card. 81 will be an out, however. And 81, a ground ball down to shortstop. Quick throw across the diamond. Patek has to hustle to catch him, but 2 quick outs in the top of the 7th inning. Brings up shortstop Bert Campaneris. And 28 against the right-hander. And Campy drives that into the gap, and that's going to roll to the wall. He is around first and into second base with a double, a 2-out double. So the A's in business here. Runner in scoring position for Don Baylor. Out in the Kansas City bullpen, Larry Gora and Mark Littell are warming up furiously. Here comes the pitch, and 19, this will be a potential error check. And against the right-hander, or that's 16, 16 potential error, and that's a strikeout. So Patton comes up huge and gets out of the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. As we are heading into the 7th inning stretch, knotted up at 5 in this one. And Patton, he's going to come out. So Patton turns in a nice performance. Ends up going 3 innings. Only gives up a single hit, no runs, no walks, and he ends up striking out 4. So he does his job, and Royals with the score tied are going to bring in Larry Gora. And Gora had a fine 2.30 ERA in 1976, was 4-0 with a save, also started a couple of games and hurled a complete game. And he's 4-7 against lefties, 2-6 against righties. So now, 7th inning stretch time is over, and George Brett look to get things going for the Royals here, hoping to take the lead. Here comes a pitch from Lindblad, and coming off of Lindblad's card against the left-hander. And that is going to be an out. So Brett grounds that down to second base, and snap throw across the diamond from Garner, 1 down. John Mayberry, RFD, the batter now. Left-handed pitching, Lindblad gets a sign, comes forward, 51. And that is going to be off of Mayberry's card. And 51, fly ball to center field, and going to his right to take care of that. Pulls that in, Bill North, no problem. 2 quick outs. Hal McRae, the batter. So the relief pitchers have done a great job in this one as Hal McRae steps in. And coming off of Lindblad's card, and that is going to be an out. And no error check, and that's a ground ball down to third base, and Sal Bando takes a 2-hopper, whips it across the diamond, and 3 up, 3 down go the Royals. We are through 7, still tied at 5 in this one. And I should be doing this before the batter, but again, been a while since I played. Lindblad's going to stay in the game. He'll go down to a 2 for his next inning of work. All right, we're ready to go. Joe Oden Rudy steps in against Gora. And lefty-righty matchup, and this is coming off of Gora's card against the right-hander, and 17. That's going to be a strikeout. So Gora, not a big strikeout pitcher, but he paints the corner there. Rudy slams the bat on the plate, goes back to the dugout disgusted. Sal Bando, the batter. And 11 coming off of Bando's card. He's going to get into that, and 12 is going to be a single into center field. Bando not very good against left-handers, but he had enough to get that into the outfield. So the A's threatening now. Gene Tennis, the batter. Tennis today. He has been hit by a pitch, doubled, driven in a run, scored 1, and struck out. And here comes a pitch from Gora, and against the left-hander, 34, Tennis. He takes that deep. So we go to the ballpark chart. And 28 or less, the ball is out of here. Actually, 41 or less is bad, and 41, that is going to be a double. So Tennis drives that into the outfield, and we are going to have to double the center field. And Bando is a B on first base, and 58. 58, and that is going to the arm rating. And in center field for the Royals, Amos Otis, he is only a 1, so 51 to 78, and the A's once again have the lead as coming in to score Sal Bando on that spectacular double by Gene Tennis, and Tennis having a great day at the dish. And it's now 6-5. A's back in the lead, and Gora down to 2 fatigue. Sweet swinging Billy Williams, a batter, and 7. Williams, a left-hander. That's going to be off of Gora's card. That'll be an out. And that's going to be a ground ball down to first base. That will move Tennis across the diamond as 3 unassisted goes the put out. So 2 down, runner on third for Phil Scrap Iron Garner. And trying to give the A's a little bit of insurance here. And 7 coming off of Garner's card, and 32. And that ball is deep, and that is gone. Phil Garner over the left field wall. A resounding home run. 2 runs coming to score. And the A's jump out now to an 8-5 lead. Garner got every stitch of that. And that is going to put Gora at the fatigue level. So things not going as planned. Larry's going to get pulled after only 2/3 of an inning. Gives up 3 hits, 3 runs. Does manage a strikeout. But the A's back in front, and Steve Mingori is going to be asked to finish this off. Another left-hander. And Mingori for the Royals, he's a 4.7 and a 2.6 respectively. So same as Gora there. And the A's have exploded. Mingori, the first batter he's going to face is Larry Haney. And Raleigh Fingers now warming up feverishly in the Oakland bullpen. 2, it's going to be a clutch defense result. So clutch D is shortstop. And for the Royals, Freddie Patek. Freddie Patek is a 3. And 84. And goes deep in the hole and just nips the batter at first base. A great play to end the inning. So Patek ranging far into the hole. Might not have got a speedier batter, but he was good enough to get Haney, and the inning is over. But the A's, they strike hard for 3 runs on 3 hits, nobody left, and we're heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. Oakland 8, Kansas City 5. And Al Cowens is going to be entrusted to get things going. So Lindblad, he has 2 fatigue points left. Fingers will be ready to go, and they're going to let Lindblad start the inning. And total 8, that's going to be off of Cowan's card. And ground ball down to shortstop. So Campy Campaneris takes care of Cowens, and 1 quick out. Lindblad, he's on the line for the win and has pitched exceptionally well in relief. Here we go again, and 8, that's going to be off Stinson's card. 12, and that's going to be a single into left field. So runner on at first, and Lindblad has 1 point of fatigue. Fingers is ready to go. We're going to see if Lindblad can get out of this inning. And 43 off of Lindblad's card against the right-hander. And 43, that will be an out. And Patek, ground ball down to shortstop. That'll be a fielder's choice, so 6-4 on the putout. Stinson retired, and Patek on at first base, 2 down. Frank White now the batter. Lindblad gets a sign, and again trying to put the cap. This is a clutch batting result though, and 58 off of Frank White's card against the left-hander. Just out of range, going to be an out. Frank White gave it a mighty poke, but turns into a... Yeah, this card should still be in the deck, sorry. Turns into a fly ball to medium center field, going back to pull that in his north, and side is retired. So the Royals get a hit, cannot do anything with that, and we are through 8 innings, 8-5, Oakland in the lead. And you know who you're going to see in the 9th inning for Kansas City. It's going to be Raleigh Fingers. So we'll close the door on Lindblad, and again, a great performance by him. Ends up going 3 strong innings. Gives up just a single hit, no runs. And no walks, no Ks, but he is on line to get the victory. Fingers, he'll be the 4th A's pitcher. Both teams have used 4. And Raleigh, a 2.7 against the lefties, 2.8 against righties, so he's going to be tough to take out in the 9th. But first, the A's, they're going to see if they can do some more damage against Steve Mingori, top of the order. And 41, Billy North against the left-hander, and that is going to be a deep drive. So again, we go to the ballpark check. And that ball is out of here. Billy North, the banjo hitting Billy North, takes that just over the outfield wall. And that takes Mingori down to 1. So the A's extend the lead from the unlikeliest of sources, Bill North. A solo home run to lead off the 9th inning, and it is now 9-5 as North gets mobbed by his teammates. Big smile on his face. Campy Campaneris, the batter. And coming off of Campy's card against the left-hander, 38 is going to be a strikeout, swing and a miss. So Mingori fans Campaneris, brings up Big Don Baylor. And Baylor, the right-hander, this is coming off of Mingori's card, 28. That's going to be a single into right field, and Mingori is tired now. And at this point, they are not going to bring in another pitcher. They're just going to leave him to take his lumps. So he'll go down to a 2-6 against lefties and a 2-5 against righties. Joe Rudy ready to go, and coming off of Mingori's card, that'll be an out. As Joe Rudin, that's a ground ball down to shortstop, so it'll be a 6-4 fielder's choice. Baylor's retired. 2 outs now as Rudy is on at first base. Sal Bando, the batter. Bando, he scored a couple of runs in this one, 2 for 4 on the day. And 10 off of Bando's card, 34 against the left-hander. Swing and a miss, so Mingori. A small bit of revenge there, but the A's put another on the board, 2 hits, 1 run. And we are heading to the bottom of the 9th inning. Oakland with a commanding 9-5 lead, and Raleigh Fingers on the hill. So Frank White's going to lead this off. I'm sorry, back to the top of the order. Jim Wolford will lead this off. And Fingers, the right-hander's ready to go, righty-righty matchup. And 9 right off the bat off of Wolford's card. And that's going to be a ground ball out in front of the plate, and pouncing from behind the plate is Haney. Scoops that up, whips it to first base. 2-3 on the putout, 1 down. Fingers gets a sign, and it gets the right-hander coming off of Fingers' card, and 17, and Fingers gets touched for a single back up the middle. So hope is alive still for the Royals as Otis down to first base. George Brett, the batter. And coming off of Fingers' card, 74, George Brett. And that's going to be a ground ball in front of the plate, and Fingers feels that, looks at second base, only plays to first though, so whips it over, 1-3, and 2 down. And residing on second base is Amos Otis. Mayberry, John Mayberry, RFD, the Royals' last hope here. Fingers gets a sign, kicks, delivers, and coming off of Mayberry's card, 46 against the right-hander, and walks him. So anticlimactic there, but 2 base runners now, and Fingers struggling just a little bit. As Hal McRae steps in. McRae on the day, he is 1 for 4. Couple of RBIs, runs scored, and a double. Fingers, this will be a potential error check. 47 off McRae's card, and no error check needed. That's going to be a walk, and the bases are loaded. And that's going to bring a visit from Larry Haney as the tying run now comes to the plate in the form of Al Cowens, and Fingers down to a 3 fatigue. And this will still not be a safe situation as he worked himself into this, but he's going to try and get out of it. 8's coming off a Fingers card, 17, and no dice. Actually, no, clutch batting result, 17 against the right-hander, and that is going to be a double. So that could clear the bases. On first base, McRae is a C, and 88, and that is going to be a challenge result. So again, the double goes to center field. Billy North out there. He has a 2 for an arm, 2 and a C, 86, and 86 is going to be against the arm rating. And here comes a play at the plate. North, the relay, the tag, and McRae is out. Gunned down for the final out at home plate after a 2-run double by Cowens. Ball game is over. So an exciting finish, and not a very steady outing for Fingers, but he gets the job done, I guess. So the final tally for that inning: 2 runs on 2 hits, a couple of walks thrown in as well, 1 left. But that's going to be the ball game as the Oakland A's hang on and they escape with a 9-7 victory over Kansas City. We'll get our line totals here. So for the A's, 9 runs on 13 big hits, no errors. And the Royals, 7 runs on 11 hits, no errors, so a little bit of a slugfest, somewhat different than the real-life result. And a couple of home runs as well for the A's, one by Bill North, which is, if I replayed this season, well, what did he hit? North in '76 had exactly 2 home runs all season, so yeah. That is one of them right there, and coming off of a deep result, no less. So there you have it. Statis Pro Advance 1976 Game of the Week, Week 14, and an exciting offensive affair between the Royals and the A's. Winning pitcher in this one is going to be Paul Lindblad, and your losing pitcher will be Larry Gora. And again, no save. Fingers very ineffective in the 9th inning and could still be on the hill if not for a fine play from the outfield north to Campaneris to home, and that ended the 3rd out at the plate. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, thanks for supporting the channel, and good to get Statis Pro Advance back on the table. Always a very fun game to play, and again, like the fact that it's adaptable to the dice. So hope everyone has a great day. Until next time, keep swinging for the fences, and we'll see you.